Guys, I have a very important case study in this video. I'm talking about an applicant who had been applying to business school for almost 2 years now, and he had been failing to get in. And not that he did not have a great profile, no, but it's very common for applicants to, at times, significantly fail in communication. And schools such as Keen and Pragler were saying no to him. And I think he mentioned this in one of his previous interviews as well, which is there on the same YouTube channel, that the closest he got to an admit was getting a waitlist from one of his top schools, and he applied for 2 consecutive years before he and I started working together. So he came to me in the 3rd year, and I'm not saying that I'm a magician, but I had to fix a lot of technicalities out there in the story and say, he's not here to take credit, but I want to say this, that he really worked hard for it. He did everything that was told, and it was really fun and easy to coach this particular applicant. Now, the 2 key challenges that were not working well for somebody like him, someone who came from the analytics background and writing goal stories for analytics functions in a way that, so he came from the analytics function and he was writing the future as analytics as well, but he was writing it in a way that made the admissions committee members think that, hey, great story, but aren't you well suited for Masters in Analytics program rather than MBA? Well, guys, think about it this way. When you're asking for a job in the analytics industry, you have to ask for an MBA role and not a PhD or a Masters in Analytics role. Do you understand? People don't get this part. Although they write B school goals essays, but the kind of future they describe in the goals essays makes the school think, how will a business school help you perform these roles? And there is a mismatch. See, he could not clearly justify the need for an MBA. Not that MBA was not a great fit for him, MBA was a good fit for him, but he did not know what will he do with it for the kind of roles that he was asking for. Think about it this way. A lot of you do this while communicating with the business schools in the form of essays and interviews. You're coming from somewhere and you're going somewhere, and in the middle of this, you artificially place an MBA degree. And you try to convince your reader to buy your story artificially. When I say artificially, it's just a word that you place out there in the MBA story, and schools don't understand that, listen, why is this kind of a job meant for a post-MBA role? Like, why are you looking for an MBA to get this kind of a role out there? And while doing so, some of you also throw the names of courses and professors from the business school's website, and you get the names of the alumni as well. But you create an amazing essay story. Like, he had all the things together. But if somebody read the essay and said, why does this guy need an MBA? There was no organic need for an MBA. Do you get it? Now, what do we do in a situation like this? Like, where you have 2 years of consecutive rejections and someone is not buying your story based on your existing function and your future. Now, you have a background in analytics. You know that you want to further work in the same sector, and one of the other schools is saying no to you. Everybody is saying no to you. Now, what I did was, and this is a very, very important part, or like the DNA of the entire MBA consulting process, and this is how it should be. The goal setting. You have to really get an organic understanding of your short-term, long-term goals. And when I say organic understanding, I mean the goals are not just about some paragraphs or essays or clearly crafted documents that you submit. No, that's your application. That application is just reflection of your candidature. But if you're not able to articulate yourself for, let's say, 20 minutes and talk about why these goals, why MBA, why am I looking at a business school to get out there, and if you're not being able to really understand how this particular education will take me there, then the only thing you're doing in the application process is the writing exercise. That's it. You're simply crafting English language and submitting a packet to them and saying, you know what, take me for the future. No, that's not going to happen. And with this applicant, amongst a lot of other things, the first thing I did was to throw this person into the goal setting exercise for maybe a month. And we stayed with the analytics story, we stayed with the analytics industry, as I did not want to write off the entire past of whatever he had in his work experiences. But the strategy was, let us figure out the MBA goals in the analytics industry. So imagine, throw yourself into a position 4 years from now and think, what will a business leader be doing with the analytics function? Someone who's not just limited to a great analytics tools, but somebody who's an MBA, and in 4 years from an MBA, let me place my mindset into that of a business leader into the analytics industry, and someone who's asking not just for the basic analytics tools, but someone who's asking the schools to teach him a lot of other things such as finance, marketing, leadership, communication. What is the need for someone like this in the business world? What will that specific goal look like? What will that specific career path look like? And why can't you accomplish all of that without an MBA? Let's say if you get that post-MBA goal without an MBA and you get to the right spot of saying that, you know what, I want to become that kind of a person in 5 years from now, and this is the kind of decision that I'll be making, this is the kind of team that I'll be managing, this is the kind of businesses that I'll be managing with the analytics industry. And then imagine if somebody gave everything to you without an MBA. And then you got to ask yourself that if I get everything without an MBA, and if I have already reached that future in whatever 5 or 7 years from now, and if I came to you and asked you that, hey, you know what, just because you got everything without an MBA and you didn't have to go through the entire path of networking, job search and everything, you have everything right now. Can you define what this position looks like? That's the first stage. Second thing is, just because you got this without an MBA, can you help me understand what are some of the things that are not working for you right now? Can you help me understand what are the key gaps out there in your mind right now just because you didn't do an MBA and you're out there in your future job position? Now, once he understood that, he could clearly see that there is no way. Now, once you can actually imagine your future position and once you can actually see what is it that you'll be doing out there in the future, and then if somebody says, why can't you do it without an MBA? What is the key gap? What are the key handicaps that you have in your mind? You will start to realize that, you know what, now I really know there is no way I can do all of this without an MBA. That's when your expression, your whole expression of your goals essay, it becomes very, very organic. See, think about it this way. An applicant really realizing that all the things I want to do, an MBA is a real strategic fit. And not a strategic fit because you're simply using the term on the essays, but a real strategic fit because you're realizing it that you can't do or you can't accomplish all of that unless you have an MBA. Like you're realizing the real gap of why you need an MBA to get to that story. This is the beginning of you getting conviction to why you want to get to that business school. This is the beginning of the changing the entire course of action for him, by the way. And then moving over to fixing all these situational essays, poor recommendations, stories. On the other side, those are the very, very common things that all the applicants make. But goals was a major victory for him. Actually, it was a major victory for me as well. And he applied to 4 schools, got admitted to 3 top 30 schools in the US top 30 bracket. And the school that had been saying no to him, not only did they give him an admit, but they threw money at him as well. I think he got something like a $200,000 scholarship overall, right? So guys, very, very important for you to understand that your goals and why you need that specific MBA to accomplish those goals, and how will that MBA help you specifically bridge the current gaps that you have, gaps as opposed to the 5 to 7 year future that you are imagining from right now. This organic equation is something that is really, really, really needed for most of the top schools, all the top schools across the world. So this story where somebody was getting rejections for 2 consecutive years, everybody was saying no to him, and 3rd year, the same school said, hey, come on board and take this money as well, and we will love to teach you, give you financial aid and all of those things. Employability is a very, very important part. I really hope you learned something today. I really hope that you'll apply this in your application strategy. Thank you so much and have a fantastic day ahead. Thank you.